Hey guys, this is Garet and Piers. Welcome back to some Golden Sun stuff. I've figured I may as well do this thing because I've already beaten it once and I know it is very easily possible, if a little bit RNG dependent at times, but I could just carry the switch, so yeah. We're going to fight the Doom Dragon, and the condition here, I am not going to use any Djinni attacks whatsoever, so no summons and no unleashes either, so the only time Djinni will come into play is if they get blasted away by the dragon, so there is that. The Doom Dragon is the final boss of the game. It is not as ridiculous as Dullahan, but it is still pretty crazy in its own right. It has some nasty tricks to it. If you played the first game, then you'll know the Fusion Dragon at the end of that game had two phases to it, pretty much. And this thing has three, because it has three heads. One of the heads is a Mars-based one, that's why it's red, and the others are Venus. The entire dragon is Venus-focused, so Jupiter attacks work really well, and Venus attacks tend not to. So, to start off here, we're gonna just go with Resist. Actually, I don't know if I should go into the class at all. Ivan is a Pure Mage at the moment, so basically a wizard with Revive and Resist, which is pretty good. And we have the Ronin class here, and then we have two item dependent classes, so I have one. I have the Tamer class here, which is pretty good for impact, and we have a Necro Mage, which is a very interesting class actually. Cold Dullahan is the main draw here. 21 points. This actually triples the attack power of your attack, which is great, but the Necromage class doesn't have the greatest attack ever, which is a bit of a shame. However, the Excalibur is really good, and I'm set up to maximize my unleashes with the warrior classes. If Excalibur unleashes, it actually does more damage than Cold Dullahan does, if it unleashes with its triple damage. The thing with Cold Dullahan though is that it's a guaranteed tripling of your attack power, whereas Excalibur may just do 1 times or 3 times when it unleashes, and it doesn't always unleash, so there is that. Anyway, single target buffs do double the effect of the party buffs for the one character that they get used on, so that's why we're going to focus on just plain impact here. Also, my MP total for Felix is really kind of bad, so yeah. There's the Fiery Blast, fire damage coming in. The Doom Dragon actually gets less attacks as it goes along. It starts off with having 4 attacks, and then it gets fewer as you go through. But it gets much more powerful hits and other nasty techniques to go with that. So the first phase really isn't going to be too bad. I've set Ivan up to recover like 24, I think it's 20. It's either 22 or 24, I think it's 22 MP per turn that he recovers. So he'll be able to just use Pure Wish and stuff like that without any issue whatsoever. I guess I'm going to Angel Spear here so that I can increase my overall attack power. I want to save as much MP on Felix as possible because the recovery spells are very useful and they sometimes actually take like way more MP than I would like. But yeah, Cold Dullahan's an incredibly good attack against this guy. Effective type, Jupiter and tripling your power is really nice. It's kind of interesting that Cold Dullahan's a Jupiter attack because Dullahan itself was weak to Jupiter. So I don't know quite how that works, but oh well. And there is the nasty part of this fight, especially if it goes on him. Ah, yikes. Djinn Blast and later on Djinn Storm drain all of the power from all your Djinn on one and later your entire party on stuff that way. It's a really horrible attack to have used against you because now I have no Djinn on my Necromage here, and the problem of that is that it's an item dependent class, so that means that I don't go back to the character's base class, I go back to the base class of the item, which is really, really weak. Like, yeah, ridiculously weak. So unfortunately, that kind of screws over a lot of damage for a while. Thankfully, the Excalibur should still be pretty powerful, so we'll go with that. You know what, I'll just use my thing here. Obviously, Felix has got the Soul Blade on him, so Megiddo is pretty good. It's not the greatest because it's Jupiter, not Jupiter, it's opposite of Jupiter, Venus-based attack. It does automatically triple the damage output though, so it should still do respectable damage, especially with my attack buffs. But yeah, you can see just how weak Isaac is at the moment because of that stuff. I should have let that play out fully, but we'll do that in a bit. Yeah, 888 damage is still really respectable. And here's the other nasty part of this fight. Haunt is actually really mean because it occasionally does damage to you after you attack, and I think it does about a third of the damage. I want to say a third of the damage that you dealt to the monster goes back to you, because I had an Excalibur unleash earlier that did 400 recoil damage to me, and I was like, what? Earth Force is supposed to stop you from moving, but because we are pretty high level here, we're level 52 to 53, we're not going to get affected by that because we're never going to get outsped to make that matter. So yeah, the nasty thing with the item dependent class as well is that in order to upgrade the character's class, they need to have one of every element of Djinni that is not their own class set. So because I'm using Venus adepts in that means I need Mars, Jupiter and Mercury set. One of each set raises my class by 1 level. Unfortunately, that is probably not the order in which stuff is going to happen here, so we're going to be stuck for quite a while without extra power there. I'm going to use Protector because of the Blast Breath from before, lowering my defense. So yeah, you can sort of see how weak we are at this point. We don't have... we do have Revive, which is nice, but we don't have the second tier and third tier of the Cold class here. So we're actually going to need to wait until Necromage again until we can Cold Dullahan, which is pretty bad. But we can do some other neat stuff. There's Dire Inferno is actually really cool. I like the attack, but it's really expensive. I don't want to cast it right now, especially when I'm going to get more power out of my other stuff. You know, I'm going to get a lot more attack power out of Excalibur's Legend than anything else here. So we'll go with that. Yeah, only 1 hit's unfortunate. Excalibur has a chance of tripling power. Yeah, we'll let this play this time. It has a chance of tripling power, but it also increases your base damage a little bit when it goes. Whereas Megiddo just triples the power. So there's that. That is also not good. I forgot that Curse can even come into play here. Curse will basically mean in 7 turns Isaac will definitely die. And the only way of removing that is to use a Djinni, so I don't... At least I think that's the only way of doing it. Can I use Restore on it? No, Sleep Stun and... No, you can, okay. Never mind. I guess I can do that if I want to as well. That's fine. We'll just Pure Wish because I can get my health back that way. And yeah, the Ronin is basically buff class for just now. That's really how I want to use it because yeah, we can restore later actually. It doesn't even matter just now. Let's just keep attacking. But the Ronin being able to use all of the statistical buffs, the resistance, the defense, and the attack, it really helps out for just keeping me alive, and that's the main thing. As you can see, obviously the Necromage's class is really kind of low in the attack power, and okay, it's a quarter, not a third. It really did do like 400 recoil though, it was ridiculous. But even then, 162 HP recoil in my current class is rather bad to be dealing with. But the first phase really doesn't last too long, so that is that down. And you do get the recovery turn in the middle of that, so that's good. We get some PP recovery. Jenna gets PP back because she is a Mars adept, and the lighthouses give recovery to their respective classes, so that kind of helps. I think in terms of stuff here, we want to just Spark Plasma probably, although I could just resist and then we'll have Jenna actually do some attacking for once. Jenna's got the Tisiphone Edge on, which can also multiply damage dealt 1 times, 2 times, or 3 times, but it's a Venus-based attack, so we won't actually be doing that this time. Restore doesn't really take very many points to use, so we'll use that, and you are still not really getting your stuff. What Djinn do you even have? Yeah, see, this is the thing. We will actually get a class up next turn, which is quite nice, but you see, it's random which ones get given to you and which ones are still recovering. So we'll actually have all of our Jupiter Djinn recover in the next couple of turns, which is kind of not super great, but at the same time it could be worse. So, resist is nice. I should have probably healed Isaac this turn, actually, thinking about it, but I think we should be okay. I mean, unless there's a spam of Cruel Ruin, I suppose, but oh, that could happen. Okay, now we're starting to get in kind of rough territory, because my Pure Mage being drained kind of means that I don't have access. Oh well, he's dead anyway, so heck yeah, we're gonna have a couple of deaths this turn after all. Yeah, that's not necessarily very good. Cruel Ruin is basically this boss's summon. Outer Space was the summon of the Fusion Dragon, and Dullan of course used Charon. This thing does hundreds of damage at a time. Oh wow, he's not dead. Okay. Yeah, the focus must have been on Jenna there. Nobody died. Okay, that's impressive. It's, as far as I know, is a Venus summon. So, yeah, I'm actually surprised nobody died there. Anyway, the problem is we are now in the territory of not having any heals on you. So, not really the best of positions that way. Do I actually need that stuff this turn? Yeah, no I don't. I am actually maxed out on resistance at this point. That's probably why we survived, actually, thinking about it. So now I need to use the healing properties of this class, and the problem with that is that it's expensive to use them. The Tamer class has like the lowest MB total in the universe, so I really need to be careful about how much of that I actually use. Yeah. Also, Gardor is a thing. This is basically the flash Djinni from, or Djinni from us. So 90% of the damage this thing would take this turn is negated. So this triple hit Excalibur would have done 820 damage, but it only did 82 because of that. So yeah, not super great, but it does take up one of the 3 actions this thing has this turn. And Destruct Ray, whilst expensive, really isn't going to matter too much because I won't actually lose any MP with that. So yeah, Manticore, it's supposed to heal 300, it only heals 274 because of my Mars power, so that's a little bit of an issue. Also, defense dropping, once again, Desert Gas seems to guarantee a defense drop, which is really annoying. Clay Spire, really not that big a deal though, so that's fine. Alright, so with a Mercury Djinni available now, I believe... Oh wow, that's going to be a lot of Mercury ones back. Venus ones, sorry, we actually do have a heal now, so that is good. That means I can probably get away with attacking this turn with other stuff. Yeah, we're not using them. I'm going to try not to use items if I can, but I do have missed potions on... Blech! I have missed potions on people that don't normally have heals, just in case. Yeah, we can just get away with attacking this turn, and that'd be quite good. Now, do we have access to anything else I want? Not really. I mean, I guess there's HP drain. Wonder if that would actually do much. Probably not, so we won't bother with that. We'll just use Excalibur. Quick Strike being the Jupiter attack does help quite a bit, although Jenna is set up to maximize her summon chance, so really I should probably be using that, but oh well. I think that would potentially do more damage, but at the same time it's a Venus-based attack, so maybe not. Alright, Earth Force not going to do anything that is useful. Serpent Fume is a really powerful fire-based single target move. But no, Serpent Fume is not the main one. It's a Dragon Fume or something that's the big one. Serpent Fume's actually the mid stage, so it's really quite weak. I forget exactly what the larger version of it's called, but anyway, attack power is going back to normal. Not really a good time for that, but that's okay. We can deal with it. Let's just minor heal. I can actually use Angel Spear here to repower myself. I don't want to use my MP on attack buffing at the moment with this character though. Felix really needs to save most of his MP for healing people, so we'll just focus on using Angel Spear here. So that's fine. Legend Summon is obviously going to be good still. 690 damage is pretty solid considering I'm in a low powered class at the moment. And yeah, just keeping everybody slightly topped on Spire. Level 1 Spire at this in the mid stage here is kind of funny, but of course Cruel Ruin comes out as well. You'll start seeing this a lot more often as we go through this fight. We can skip pretty much all of the animation though, we've seen it already. So who is it focusing? That is the main thing. It looks like it's focusing on one of my Venus Adepts. Yeah, I think it focused on Isaac there, so that's okay. We can deal with that. Defense going back to normal, was that actually a good thing? I don't know. Yeah, I think that actually was a good thing, so because we have defense down on character there, we actually have defense up on Isaac, which is pretty cool. Oh right, we are now in that weird territory where we have more Mercury than Venus Djinni available, so we actually have access to the Wizard class, and that means high impact is available, which is pretty good. We'll buff attack as well there, heal with Manticore, and we are finally at the second tier of stuff here. So the first 2 levels of the Necromage class only have access to Cool Zombie. The second, I think it's Necrolite is the second last one. This has access to Cool Demon, and then the final tier will of course have Cool Dullahan, which is fine. But we're not really going to be focused on that in the moment. Very high speed on this class. That's definitely one of the big draws, and we actually finished that phase off. I don't know if that's a good thing or not, mind you, but it does give us a couple extra Djinni back on standby, or not standby, on set, which is pretty good. Unfortunately, that does mean we lose high impact now, so we don't get a chance to do buffing that turn, which is unfortunate, but it could be worse. I think this turn we are just going to keep going with the full heal stuff here, and yeah, let's just Excalibur again, because why not? I actually was tempted to put the Excalibur on Felix, but I decided against it because even though he has a slightly better unleash rate, Isaac is less likely to be spending turns doing stuff that isn't attacking, so it kind of made sense to have that because of Manticore being needed to heal. Hopefully we'll be okay here. Hopefully we won't just straight up die, because now it only has access to 2 attacks per turn, but Cruel Ruin is usually one of them. Not this turn, however. Nettle is all that's been used. Nettle's really not that powerful, so I am perfectly happy to see that. Right, okay, what have we got available now? We are back in this class, so we have high impact available again, which is fine. Actually, I should check what the attack level is like. 165 is 2 stages, so we can increase by 1 more here. Buffing is actually really powerful in this game. You might not necessarily think it, but buffing attack is incredibly good for this game. I'm going to use the Succubus instead of the Nymph because most of the characters are relatively fine in terms of their HP, and it just doesn't take as much to cast. It's half the cost, and only 1 character really needs HP this turn, so I think it's for the best to do it that way around. So the Succubus gives us the heal. Not a huge amount, but it is enough. Alright, Dark Soul Gasp is the other nasty attack for the second phase, not second, the final phase here. Because of that, it can haunt characters, and haunting is really bad if it hits your warriors that do all the damage. Thankfully, it didn't really hurt too much there, so that's fine. Resistance is back to normal. It's a bad time for that though. But we are in the White Mage class this time. Last time that I did this, are we in the White Mage or are we in... No, we're in the Scholar. Okay, so we're still going with all of the Mercury Djinn here. Last time I did this, all the Venus ones upgraded first, or recovered first, which basically stuck me in the Dark Mage class. Which was not good. Like, the medium class is really not very powerful, and I didn't have access to my heals for like ever, which is really bad. But with all these Mercury ones set again, I can go ahead and recover myself very handily here. And with that in mind, I can actually just go ahead and attack this turn outright. Of course the Guard Aura comes in, that's okay. Like, it does suck that I used 21 MP with that, but the one big advantage of the Necromage class is that it has a ton of MP, like pretty much the highest MP total in the game, so really nice for that. And yeah, I really just need to get this magic shield going as quickly as possible. It's kind of funny that Jenna is set up to be an offensive character here, but because of the nature of this fight, and just the nature of my resistance setup and everything, resist is really good, and of course the equivalent being magic shell here, or magic shield as well. These are really powerful effects for this fight. It's very possible to take upwards of 500-600 damage from Cruel Ruin if you don't have resistances or barriers up, so definitely take advantage of that. If you're looking to do this fight at lower levels than this, I would take advantage of the shielding Djinni. Flash and Steam. Is it Steam? No. Shade is the one for it. If you can use those, like alternate them every turn, and then just have one character heal, one character doing really powerful like Excalibur attacks or something, alternate between having Flash and Shade cast and then set, you're pretty much good to go. You could even just use then Djinni stuff, like Jupiter Djinni and whatnot, with your other character, the one that's actually doing the attacking, and you should be fine. This is where it gets scary though. Okay, Djinn Storm is the worst attack in the entire game, because we might actually just lose our party here now. It drains every single Djinn from your entire party, and then follow up of course with Cruel Ruin. This is pretty much a wipe situation for most parties, and we may just lose our party here. This is pretty much the only reason why this particular boss is difficult at this phase, because this happens. And yeah, you can see the damage that Jenna took for being the focus of that attack there is immense. Absolutely immense. Thankfully, Ivan was still recovering a little bit there in terms of getting stuff back, and because it was a Venus Djinn that recovered, I do have Potent Cure, which is fine. Unfortunately, everybody else is kind of stuck in their base classes, which is really bad, because the base class for the Tamer does not have any heals, so I can't really do much with that at all. And I just don't have a whole lot I can do, so we're gonna have to hope that we don't get ranked here, basically. I mean, I could switch out a character so I could bring in another healer, but I don't need to, because the thing just straight up dies, and there you go. Now, I'm not actually going to go ahead and show any more of the stuff here, although this is kind of enough of a spoiler, I guess, for it. But I'm not going to show off any more of this, simply because I don't want to spoil the ending of this. It's a very long ending thing too, and it's already going to be a long enough video just doing the fight. I just wanted to show off the fight without using any Djinni at all, so yeah. Thankfully we didn't get wrecked in the last turn too much because we were already far enough ahead that we didn't lose the Djinstorm. Well, we didn't lose to Djinstorm. So, this has been GamerCow playing Golden Sun, Lost Age, showing off the Doom Dragon without using any Djinni at all. And yeah, hopefully you enjoyed it. Until next time, take care.